And do you guys still work together, hang out now? Did you go to his wedding?
I did. So he had the actual wedding was the small intimate wedding. But I went to the reception and Manila was there, Detox.
Oh, right.
Bianca
Mark's
was
favorite
there.
girls.
Yeah, it was really super duper fun. And like to get to rub elbows with like Bette Midler and oh my gosh, it was so cool. And they're so in love. Mark and his boyfriend.
Yeah, they really
his husband.
do.
Oh my God.
They're his husband. Yeah.
I know.
You were at the wedding.
I know. I take up a lot of this couch.
Oh, and
wow.
you do it so wow. Oh my goodness. Now make sure that you are following Hey Qween on all of our social media. That means Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Like that Facebook page and look on Facebook for exclusive content you can't see anywhere else, including questions from Reddit. All right.
Sorry, I'm liking all of those things.
Oh, thank you, Milk.
Yeah.
Thank you. Be like Milk.
Let me just
and
do that.
Do that.
See, because when they say to do it, you do it.
God bless. This is the best guest we've ever had doing that.
Listen, she finally came and, hold on, I have an update. Oh, and I love her too, yeah.
You get that DM, baby.
Oh, I got it, baby.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Milk, now is the time when we take another dip to Drag Race, to a more problematic version of Drag Race.
Oh, Lord.
It's time to talk All Stars, the Ray.
Yeah.
Sweetie.
Well,
that must have been just a different experience on Drag Race for you.
For sure.
And it can't be what you thought it was going to be.
It definitely was not what I thought it was going to be. Not everybody has perfect moments every second of every day. That show really just cuts down to the nitty-gritty of it all. And if they want your nitty-gritty to be like this conceited individual, then that's what they can do. And I knew that signing up for the show.
Sure.
And so, of course, I said the things I said. I also said a lot of other things that sort of had the ability to round out my character, but I wouldn't say. I mean, I'm not mad about it. I think it was used more of a growing experience to like figure out like what I was all about.
Yeah, because you got almost a villain at it.
Yeah, it wasn't even me being mean to people. It was just. You
were having emotions. I mean, your Drag Race audition tape says, I'm very emotional.
Yeah, for sure. They really went in with a pinpoint side of me, which is fine. That's what they do. That's what the show does, and that's why the show has so many Emmys. And if that season didn't have my silly delusion and flights of fancy, then what would those parts have been? Like what would they have put in there to fill?
Did you have a feeling that, because you living it, obviously those were certain parts of the day where you're having a moment or you're having a conflict. When you watched it, did you gag? Like, oh, this is where they're going for me this year? Yeah,
I definitely did. I definitely was a little like, wow, that's the direction this season is heading in. Because in the moment, I didn't really see it. I was just acting like a normal human being with different levels of emotion here and there. But when it came to the actual show, it was like, okay. Like,
they're giving me this journey.
Yeah,
okay.
Here we are. Like, buckle up. It will be fun.
And then I think for the first time, you got a kind of negative response from an audience that had put you pretty much on a pedestal.
Yeah, I mean, coming in ninth and to be able to have the opportunity to come on to All Stars was huge.
Right.
I mean, how many ninth place queens get the chance to do
Not
that?
very many,
right. I think I went in with more of a mission to sort of be what they didn't see on season 6.
Okay. In what way were you thinking of that?
Well, on season 6, I wasn't super confident. I went into the show knowing that I wasn't going to win. Like, I mean, I saw Bianca Del Rio.
Right.
I saw Courtney act. It's just like at that point in time, I was very with it in my thoughts. And so I was like, they're gonna win, I'm just gonna be here to have fun. On All Stars 3, I think I went in with a little bit more of an expectation that they want me to be this confident individual who believes in everything that they do. And so when I believed in myself, and even in like the lowest of moments, if I believed in myself, they showed what it showed, and it came off very delusional. But I think I was trying to be the reality star that they wanted, because at the end of the day, it's a reality competition show.
Right. So you were giving them a little more.
Yeah, it's just like they don't want to see a person who thinks, oh yeah, I did okay.
Yeah.
They want to see somebody who's like, yeah, I fucking killed that shit, honey. Like I went out there and slayed. And so I think what happened, and I mean, it sucks. I try to live my life with the idea that I help lift voices up. I help bring a voice to things that don't often get talked about. And so to see that sort of edit on Drag Race was a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, am I actually a good person? Am I trying to be a good person because this is happening to me? It was like this weird sort of self-discovery. And then in the end, it was like, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing because I know what I'm doing is right. I know what I'm doing is good in this world, and I'm not gonna let a TV show be the better of me.
Did you feel a little betrayed? I mean, I'm not trying to like get you to go against the team. We all know they're making a show, but you obviously seemed like you were a favorite of the company. You had your own show, and then you're like, wow, this is what they've chosen for me. Did you feel like that, or?
I'm not gonna lie.
Fuck it, I did. You know.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely felt that way at a moment. But then again, like, not in a negative way, but the show isn't necessarily thinking about me.
You're right.
They're thinking about the material and the way that queens interact with each other to create a phenomenal LGBTQIA+ content. So I don't know. I said some things. It came off wrong. I'm also a sarcastic motherfucker. Like a lot of those confessionals, I would say something, I guess shady, but for anybody else, it's like humor. But for me, it was like shady, and I would always laugh at the end. And then I was told that I had to stop laughing at the end, so they wouldn't just have to like cut out every laugh.
Right. That took a little context out of it, didn't it?
Right, of course. Like when saying my song, my variety show song, "Touch the Fashion" is gonna be bigger than RuPaul's Supermodel. Right. Obviously, that's a joke. Obviously, that's a joke. I mean, how could anybody ever think that? But when they showed me saying that, I do understand how it came across that way. Yeah. I guess I had to think about like how I interact, but I don't want that to silence anything of my true persona. Yeah. I don't want a show to like affect me necessarily in that way, but I don't know.
Well, also you experienced something that is interesting about the more recent seasons of Drag Race is that everyone has to be careful or feels careful about perceptions, not wanting to be seen a certain way because the audience is going to attack them.
Yeah. Even season 11, there was a couple quote unquote delusional moments from queens, and then it was just so funny seeing my like Twitter explode for like a hot second, like relating me to the queen, or that queen to me, that was on in a delusional moment. But it's fascinating. I'm fascinated by this this new Gen Z. I think Gen Z, is that what they're called?
Yeah, I think so.
The new, not millennials, but Gen Z, who's like the meme culture. Yeah. So seeing like how they dissect Drag Race and how they can take like one picture and like turn it into like a whole feeling. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
There's a lot. It's like all their favorite stars they have to drag them through the mud to appreciate them more.
Uplift them. Yeah,
they have to get humiliated. It's very interesting.
It's interesting.
But it's also a pain in the ass, I bet.
Oh, honey, it's a pain in the ass. And I'm sure it's a pain in the ass to these like colleges and universities that have these drag race fucking courses.
Wow.
Like, it's nuts. Like, the fact that, like, NYU and Columbia are talking about drag race.
Wow.
It's huge. So let my delusion be a question on that test.
Now, just one more thing. Like, after All Stars came out, you said you had to kind of take some time to yourself. I can only imagine that time was hard and difficult to suddenly be turned on by this audience. And when you went away to have that time by yourself, what were you going through?
Well, I first had to remember that I am not the first one, and I will not be the last one that goes through what I went through. And that I have the privilege of being a cis gay male, white gay male, who is dealing with this pressure, as opposed to Kennedy Davenport, who dealt with a lot of hate in her season.
Oh, yeah.
Jasmine Masters, who dealt with so much hate. So I had to first recognize that this isn't about necessarily me. Yes, I can focus on trying to make this better, the me underneath better, but knowing that people are gonna say what they wanna say, and try to figure out how to bring a change to the way that people view Drag Race and the way that people interact with drag queens. Because it's scary. The things that people say these days,
yes.
It's wild. It's wild. And I don't know if there's gonna be a change to that. I don't know if, I would love for Drag Race and World of Wonder to create like a Funny or Die PSA using the plethora of Drag Race girls that they have to take a stand and be like, you know what? Like, you know, these racist comments against these queens, these death threats against these queens, those aren't funny. And we as a family are going to take a stand and say that this is not okay. And if you do not agree that this is not okay, then you can, you know, jump off the bandwagon.
Agreed. The show is supposed to be everybody say love.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everybody say, I hate you, you fucking bitch, I bet you died. You're fucking cunt, you were roasted. Like, wow, where'd you get that from the show, you little fuckers?
I never heard those words come out of Guru RuPaul's mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk just a couple things that happened in the season, because we want to get into that. Now, the conflict with Kennedy, that obviously came from you thinking you did well, but well, we want to let you explain it. How did that conflict with Kennedy begin? That ended in fuck my drag, right?
Yeah, so that was the episode that Thorgy got eliminated.
Right.
That was after the Divas of Drag challenge.
Right.
Which was a tough challenge for everybody. That was, they usually give like 2 days for a challenge. I think that day that challenge they gave like 3 or 4 because it was a lot of choreography to learn. There's a lot of stuff to learn. So every queen had a lot to do. So it was very stressful. And so what ended up happening was amazing. I was like, wow, this turned out really great. Like, Jesus. So that day, Thorgy left, and I was asked, who would you have liked to stay? So it was said in like a positive way, in a way.
Yeah.
And so I, you know, as you do on that show, you say like, oh yeah, I said I would have loved to see Thorgy stay, really like her concepts. By saying that made people believe that I thought they were garbage.
Right.
And that's obviously not the case.
Of course.
Obviously, I am obsessed with Kennedy. I wish the world for her. She's such a hard worker. But in that instance, we were on a reality TV show being filmed for 12 hours, and I gave my opinion that in a positive way, I wanted Thorgy to stay. And so then that just started like this whole snowball effect. and what happened. And but in the end, I really did want the best for Kennedy. Like voting for her in the end, she put in a lot of hard work, and that was the only like sad thing for me. And not saying that she wasn't allowed these feelings that she was having, but we had traveled together a lot before. We had toured together a lot before. And so for her to see me as the person that she was seeing on that television show was really tough. I was so emotional. That's why I just ended up crying to her when I talked to her. Just like, girl, you know I'm not that way. Like, we've spent many nights together just like hanging out. But what is the magical thing about the show is that for us, it doesn't stop once those cameras stop rolling. Like, we're able to develop these relationships with each other.
Right.
Deeper than like what people are able to see. And yes, it sucks when people still expect me and Kennedy to be these like enemies.
Right.
Like, baby, we moved on from that the second it happened.
Yeah.
Like, we're grown adults. We aren't ready to have this like anger and hate in our lives.
Feud for the ages.
Yeah.
It's a feud that will never end.
Right. Like Game of Thrones shit. The Davenports against the Milk Targaryens.
Oh.
Is that it?
Okay.
I don't know. I don't really watch the show. But yeah, so it's magical to be able to like have that relationship with these queens.
Yeah, and keep them moving and continue to be friends.
Like any friendship, like any relationship goes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on All Stars 3?
You know what? I just farted.
Well, Milk, thank you so much for being here, sweetie.
Thank you. This is so amazing. I can't believe I'm fucking finally here.
Yes.
Yes, honey.
You're here. You were truthful. You were glamorous. You were gorgeous, and you farted at the end, sweetie.
Farted. Honey.
You have turned it so fiercely that you have snatched the trophy, sweetie. And I hope James won't mind because you've already also won yourself a lap dance.
All right, here we go.
Oh, there we go.
I used to have this hat.
Oh, yeah.
I used to own this hat, for sure. Oh, yeah,
Work it
baby.
good. Work it up. Oh, you might get pregnant today.
Honey.
My goodness. That's right. You can touch in this champagne room.
Did you know I was going to be wearing these colors?
Well, Randy, you keep dancing, and Lady Red, take us out with some Black Lady Screaming.
Hey, Queen. Hey, Queen. Hey, Queen. Hey, Queen.
All right. Happy Pride, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode of Hey Qween Pride. Bye, baby.